Hello, welcome. My name is Leah Hartefellis. I am here today to highlight our pose of the month at Breathe and Flow Yoga. Coming to you right here from our studio, and I would love to share some tips and tools and practices for preparation and finding a sense of balance and steadiness in tree pose, also known as Vrikshasana. All right, so let's come first just to a seated position, and if you can't sit down on the ground, go ahead and grab a chair. We're just gonna explore gentle hip openers to start to prepare the body, the lower half of the body. So get steady in your seats, feel your breath rise and fall up and down through center line of the body. Notice when you breathe in, you feel a little taller, and this will come in handy when you're practicing tree pose. And notice as you breathe out, you feel a little bit more grounded and steady. There's a sense of vibrancy, energy rising on your in-breath, and that sense of grounding, steadiness on your out-breath. So as we're practicing a pose like a balance, we want to feel the roots of the feet or the seat and form the length and lift through the crown of the head. And as we exhale, we'll start to feel that energy traveling back down. So feeling even more grounded and rooted through the base, but still maintaining a sense of height through the crown. Good. Try to remember that for when we practice later. Good. If your hips are fairly tight as we're sitting here, you could sit up on a block or a rolled up blanket. You could also take blocks to the outsides of your thighs and help support them. Because if you could support your hips, the thighs and hips and groin will relax a little bit. So just breathe in and out and just noticing the space that you're working with today. You might notice that one side feels a little bit looser or tighter than the other. This is natural. All right. So let's move into Baddha Konasana, where you bring the soles of your feet together and opening up your hips. Tree pose is an external hip opener, of course, in the raised leg. So this can start preparing the hips, opening a bit. And feel the root of your seat drawing down and the crown lifting up. Good. Maybe the wings of your legs flutter up and down just a bit. Excellent. Good. All right, bring your knees together. Let the legs fall off to your right side. Bring your left knee and right ankle in line so that the right shin is parallel in front of you. A nice hip opener here also. Just let the right thigh relax. We'll take 3 breaths here. And if you want to take longer, you can of course pause and come back. Good. Take a hold of your left foot, point the left knee up and extend that leg. Your right foot will move into the inner left thigh, sitting up in half butterfly pose or Vrikshasana, which if you look at the legs, it looks a lot like tree pose. Good. And sitting up nice and tall. So I want you to create some flexion in your foot and length through your spine. We're not going to forward fold here. We're really working on creating length. Good. And although the left thigh is nice and active, can you relax your right hip open? Good work. Bring that right knee to face forward. Extend your legs, give it a little shake. Good. Swing the legs over toward the left or over toward your right side so the left shin is parallel to the front. So your belly and chest is facing the same direction as your left shin. I noticed from one side to the other, there are some differences in the body for sure. Let the hips settle, remaining in center line. So this is a nice position for you to explore how every once in a while we're leaning to one side more than the other, right? It would make sense when you're gonna stand on one leg. But try, rather than let the torso and the head lean in that direction, try to find center line up from the roots of your seat up to the crown, and keep letting the tail and the roots soften back down at the bottom of your breath. You're not pushing or pulling, just trying to maintain center. Middle path here. Good. Now grab a hold of your right ankle, the knee points up, you'll extend the leg, draw the foot to your inner thigh. Good. And then create some action through that foot. Feel the crown of your head rising up, like you're in a seated version of tree pose. I love to explore different variations of the traditional pose, right? Tree pose is a standing balance, but you could practice it seated like we're doing now. You could practice tree pose lying down on your back. All of these are great options. One more full breath here. Very nice. All right. Go ahead and cross both ankles. Feel the hips opening now. You might even see and notice there's a little bit more space in your hips. A little more length in the spine. What about the depth of your breath? Tune back into the breath. Breathing in and out. Letting that be your focus. Good. So we're going to stand up now, changing positions, exploring a standing variation of our tree pose. So come on and stand tall. I'm going to recommend that if there is a wall nearby, set up by a wall, because it's always a nice prop to use when you're just beginning to find your balance. All right. And let's stand. We're going to take our feet about hip bone distance apart. Feel the roots of your feet and form the lift in your head. So rather than worrying about getting right to that pose, feel the foundation of the pose. Your feet are rooted down. If you lift your toes, you'll feel an arch of your foot, a little action in your thighs. Want to try to maintain that action. And then spread the toes, creating a nice big base of your feet. Absolutely great way to start. From the root to the crown, feel tall. And then once again, from the crown, maintaining height, feel more of a grounded energy through the feet. Excellent. So let's begin by planting the weight into the right foot. So just a little bit of shift where you place a bend in your left knee. So I'm not trying to let the whole body lean. I'm just feeling more weight in the right leg. Good. From here, you're going to externally rotate the left hip open. And then go ahead and internally rotate that hip. Feel the difference. So hips rotating in, give a little spreading in the back of your seat. But then as you externally rotate the hips, you feel a little bit of gathering around in the lower back. Good. Internal and external. One more time. Warming up that hip. Good. So let's try to bring the heel of your foot to the ankle of the other. If you place your hands on your hips, maybe this midsection, you bring a little bit of awareness to. And imagine that you're just wrapping a belt around, engaging some of your transverse muscles. Doing a little core is always a good thing before balancing, getting your lower midsection nice and warm and strong. Good, so we can start to play around with lifting the foot just a little. And notice right away there's a shift. You can reset. This is usually where we start to tighten up the breath and hope we don't fall. Breathe, it's okay, wobble. We're all breathing, there's wind in the body. Good. And then maybe taking a little bit more of a lift. Feeling that if you lose your balance, you just reset. It's something that we learn when we lose our balance to find center again. So the foot can remain below your knee. If there's space available, you'll take the foot up the inner thigh, keeping the hip nice and open. You could explore different variations with your hands, maybe hands to heart. Maybe your wings start to reach out and you reset. It's so much fun to play around with your tree. And we're practicing middle path, that breathe and flow. So it's not about perfection, it's about the journey of figuring it out. Good. I'm going to give you a little tool and tip. Some days we're just not feeling as steady as others, so we just need a little support. Take a block to the inside of the standing leg, and then you could just perch the ball of your foot right there, and there's a lift. So you're starting to feel in the body the alignment of the hip opener where more weight is on the standing leg. This is a really great way to explore, so that if you want to lift and try it out, it's right there. That's another tip. Good. All right. Bringing that leg back to center. If you're using a block, you could set it off to the side or bring it over to the other side. And just feel how the ankle of your standing leg, thigh, nice and strong. Maybe roll out that ankle. All right. So let's shifting on to the other side here. I'm going to highlight the practice of a dristi. A dristi is a focal point, a gazing point out in front of you of something that isn't moving. So when you're staring at something steady, you are less likely to wobble. Good. So we'll start setting up in the same way, nice and active. Lift those toes, feel the thighs activate. Spread the wings of your toes down, feel a nice base. And we're going to shift, so the left leg is the root. And then you'll put a little bend in your right knee. Excellent. External rotation out and then in. External out and in. One more time. Good. Nice. So if you have a wall nearby and you want to give that a go, you can take your left hand close to the wall, but I'm actually recommending that the distance is almost the length of your arm so that you can reach with your fingers but not hold with your hand. Good. So we'll take the right leg and rotate the ankle and the heel align together. Feel the hips opening. Sometimes the hips are a little tight, so you might feel like the knee is on an angle. Just continue to feel the hip opening outward. And maybe you slide the foot up to your inner calf. Feel the foot and the leg come together like one. Imagine it's a magnet. When I feel the pressure, I actually get a little taller there. Good. And then maybe you lift your hand away from the wall, but remember that it's always there if you need to. From the root of your foot to the crown of your head. You could begin to explore higher motions of the foot. Maybe you use your hand to help guide the leg up a little higher. And now find the dristi, the gazing point of something in front of you not moving, so that you could breathe in and out to and from that space. I'm going to recommend something out of the distance where you don't need to look down or up, especially with the tilt of your head. Good. Remember your belt. Breathe up and down midline. Maybe you explore the wings, a little flow. Good. We're all got wind in our trees. Take a breath. Smile. This is yoga. Good. And then nice and easy. Try not to spring out if possible. Release the foot down. And then go ahead and roll out that ankle. Feel tall, standing here. Just noticing. Here's some things that come with the practice of balance. I notice that we tend to hold on to our breath because we want to make sure we don't fall. If you're not breathing, there's no energy flowing. So I suggest, continue to let the breath be your focus, and don't worry so much about perfecting the pose. Practice, practice, practice. And remember, if you fall out, you just need to reset, try again. I hope you enjoyed this little tips and tools practices of tree pose. Namaste.